Hi, welcome to another episode of Alta Heron. My name is Rob Runacres and I'm joined by my friend and colleague Hans Jodlik.
Hello.
Hi Hans, and tonight
Hello.
Hans and I are going to be looking at 4 fights from the Open Longsword of Swordfish 2015. And these 4 fights have, I suppose, 2 types of specific techniques which we find particularly interesting. Now, before I hand over to Hans to talk us through these techniques, just want to say we are not completely obsessed by competition HEMA. It's just, of late, we've had a number of episodes that have obviously brought to the fore some of the competition side, but in future we'll be looking at many other areas. Okay, so Hans, what is it about these 4 clips that you find particularly interesting?
Well, the thing is that these days we can actually see really, really good techniques in tournaments. And I would like to share with you 2 fundamental things. One is to move diagonal away to get an angle to attack and then also to block the incoming afterblow. We're going to see that in 2 exchanges. And then we're going to move over to thrusts. And we're going to see 2 exchanges when fencers are very, very confident and just close the line, covers the line, and kind of stabs straight away from that position. They don't move away, they don't jump in, they just take control over the line and move in with a very, very solid thrust. So I think we could start with the first one. It's going to be a technique with Penberg in his pool fight, one of his pool fights in Swordfish. And we can take a look at that. It's a cutting technique.
Okay, I am just going to move it over to those right now.
Okay.
We're going to have to deal with my my particular expertise when it comes to hitting the pause button, so I hope viewers will forgive me. Okay, so can you see this now?
Yeah, Aaron is in red pants here, moves in.
Okay.
Let's look at it, and I'm not going to say anything. We're just going to see it first, okay? So you can go. Aaron is in red. There he goes. That's it. It looks kind of simple, like he's just rushing in, cutting. But what he actually does is he's taking a step to the left to set this up. Then he moves in diagonal, and he moves up with crossed hands. This is very, very. You don't see this very often, actually. People usually go to hanging guard with like this, the hands like this, and then they move around and cut. But what Aaron does so brilliantly here, he moves to the right with crossed hands, takes the cut down on his blade and moves over and cuts. And as I said before, he moves diagonal. He passes his opponent, which gives him a great angle to cut in his attack, but it also makes it really, really hard for the opponent to move over to deliver an afterblow. So I would like us to see that the whole clip again in slow motion, and I can talk through it.
Okay, let's have a go.
So yeah, cool. So Aaron takes a step to the left there, and now he moves in, takes a cut, incoming cut, and then he just delivers the cut and prevents the afterblow. Beautiful. It's really, really nice. I can say that actually he was really happy with that technique because he did the exact same thing, the exchange after, and he also landed that one. Oh, can we see it again in full speed, just one more time?
Yeah, let's give it a go. Okay, so.
Okay, moves in, takes a few steps, see the distance, step to the left, in, cut, out. You see, and he moves out. And he ends up like, I don't know, 3 meters away from his opponent. And it's, I think that's great. He moves in, cuts, takes the afterblow in kind of the same motion as he delivers the cut. And then he's gone. That's really, really nice. Very nice cut to the arm from Aaron. So that's the first one, cutting and moving diagonal past your opponent and then takes the afterblow. So we can move over to the next technique. And that will be with Christopher Hall.
Yeah, so it's playing now.
You can see this whole. This is a longer exchange because we wanted to show you how well Christopher moves around with distance, footwork. He is really, really perfect in this. This was one of his best fights ever, actually. And there it is. Very, very nice. So what Christopher did here.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
go ahead.
Chris Holman, of course, we've spoken about, very enthusiastically, we've spoken about him with his reffing that he's done at the recent Swordfish, and as well as before, we've encountered him. I think here, what we're seeing is, as with other from, as I've called it, Karl Röberg's stable of fighters at Ottobro. You're seeing how much that it's, coming out from the shadow of Karl. Of course, you're seeing fantastic fighters develop here, and much like Aaron, what we're seeing is great footwork, and people will focus on the sword techniques. People will focus on how well they are gaining the blade or what have you. But the real mark of the fighter, I feel, is in the footwork, as with any other martial art. And Chris has this in bucket loads.
Definitely, I completely agree. And actually, a couple of years ago, Christopher Holm was very, very, he didn't have any patience when he was fencing, and he knows this. He was kind of just waiting for a while, and then he just moved in no matter what. He didn't really assess the situation before he did something. He just moved in and he wanted to go in and attack. And look at the difference now, how he moves. He just controlled the whole situation, moves over the whole mat, perfect distance. He goes in, tries a little provoke, just do a little provoker. He steps away, he jumps away. He moves perfect. So when Knut Bonan from Norway goes in, kind of loses his patience. He goes in with the attack. Christopher Holm knows exactly what to do. Okay, so now let's have a look at this in slow motion. Okay, here we see Christopher, very, very nice, patient, perfect distance, great footwork. Knut comes in with a cut. Christopher just jumps away. And see the way he circles. He uses the whole area. And now when it comes down, Knut goes in with a big cut. There, Christopher takes takes the bind, cuts around, and prevents the afterblow perfectly. Moves it away.
Something I've noticed, Hans, is Knut does seem to commit his weight quite heavily. And he gets balance there. Chris, by contrast, is always center of balance until he needs to commit. And I think this is a key thing in the successful fighter here. You see that, when you are committed, when you put your weight over that leg, you have to go with it. It takes another tempo to pull yourself away and, really haul yourself out of that situation. And if you're going to face someone like Chris, who's got that center of balance, they will dance around you.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. So it's a beautiful fight to watch, because you see these two completely different ways of fighting, actually. And Christopher, he does perfectly here. So can we see the exchange again in full speed?
Yep, let's just do this right now.
Okay, cool. I've been watching this so many times, and I think this is one of my favorite exchanges in the whole Swordfish, actually. The way Christopher moves, it's really nice to see. And as you said, people watch what happens with the swords, but everything is down. Look at his feet, the way he moves his feet. Man, it's so beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely excellent.
Yeah.
Very well placed, the feet. He's not overextending his stance either. A lot of longsworders have quite deep stances, which works up to a certain degree. It gives you great stability. But what he's doing is he's drawing himself into quite a short stance there, and is able to skip around. So he's I think recognizing that there are a lot of very, very big, strong guys there, outsized guys almost with huge reach. Chris is, and I was not too offended by me saying this, is not very tall, but what he's doing is he's just moving around there, and it's it's a real mongoose style. Fantastic stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So those were the two cutting exchanges that I wanted to show you with moving diagonal and making it really hard for the opponent to deliver afterblows. Now we're going to move over to thrusts, and it's actually the same fight, Christopher Holm against Knut Bona, because Christopher did really well in this fight. So he did a really nice thrust, and I would like to show you this. So let's take a look at it.
Yeah, just a quick word, Knut. You are a brilliant longswordist. Please don't take this personally. It's just Chris exemplified.
Exactly. We will never do analysis and just kind of talk down against people. We just want to show you, when we see great things, we want to talk about that. So that's it.
Yeah, unless we don't like people, then we'll say nasty things. But no, I mean, actually, all the longswordists of these clips are really, if they're not at the top of their game, they're getting very close, and you're seeing excellent stuff.
And this was an elimination fight as well. I think this was top 32 or top 16 or something. So it was, I mean, it's a high level on this. So let's take a look at this fight, this exchange.
Okay.
Yeah. Bam. Okay, that was quick. What happens here is that again, Christopher moves in, and he knows that Knut will probably come in with a big cut like this, like an Oberhaus, Zornhaus, something. So he goes up to ox, kind of an ox, but he leaves he puts the point up a little bit high. So he's just ready to take a blow that will come in on that side. And what Knut does is Knut goes down and does a horizontal cut from the right. And by doing this, he exposes his own head, right? So Christopher Holm sees this and immediately just go in with a thrust straight here on Knut. And at the same time, he takes the incoming horizontal cut on his own crossguard. It's very, very simple, but it really takes precision, perfect timing, and some courage not to flinch away and kind of lose the tempo. Christopher just takes the tempo. This is something we see in rapier fencing all the time.
Okay,
Everything
let's look
works.
at this. Let's look at this
in slow motion. Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, they move in. Christopher moves down here to the right, and you see how he puts his sword up a little bit up here. He knows what's coming, and then he just goes in and takes it. And you can see he puts his hands up. He's really, really proud and happy over this fight and over what he did there. We can take a look at it in full speed again. Just one last.
Yeah, I mean,
look, because
it's
very
quick
nice.
though, isn't it? Yeah. So okay.
It is. And bam, there it is. Yeah, perfect. Okay, we're gonna move over to, this will be the last little analysis for this episode. It's Axel Pettersson. I don't remember who he's fighting, but I think it's a Dutch fencer. Axel goes in. We can take a look at the whole.
To be fair, it's Ruben Turlo, and I hope Ruben forgives me if I don't actually pronounce his name properly.
I'm sure he does.
Okay.
Okay, let's take a look at the exchange once.
Okay, this is quick again.
Yeah, so pay attention. There it is. See, that's an interesting thrust. You don't see those very often. What happens is that Axel moves in. He goes up to high guard just to check. What are you going to do now? And then he takes it, goes down to middle guard. What his opponent does then, he stays in his middle guard. Then he takes it, go down to a low guard with his sword, and from the low guard he tried to attack with a thrust. But since Axel is already there, so he's in the middle guard. So when his opponent goes up with a thrust, he's already there. He just has to take it with his strong on the weak and just follows through. Just go in with a really solid thrust into the body.
Absolutely. I mean, that's something that interested me. But certainly, if you compare it with Chris's and Aaron's fight, Aaron is stepping offline. He's looking to wrong foot. You've got Chris, who is manoeuvring heavily, trying to draw Knut in. And then you've got Axel coming in straight down the line and is confident that he has the centre. And effectively, as we discussed this before we started recording this, Ruben is trying to thrust his weak, his Debole, through the strong, through the forte of the Feder. And basically that's you know, it can be done if you're trying to hit someone at great speed. It's not going to work if someone does a counter thrust. What we know is that
exactly
it's just not going to happen. And so he thrusts in opposition. That's the phrase I was searching for. And Axel, you know, hits him straight in the chest. So let's have a look at this again.
Yeah. Take a look. This is in Fiore. It's called an exchange of thrusts. When if your opponent thrusts, you do the same thing, and this is the whole thing. Let's take a look in the slow motion. Okay. So he moves in. Axel takes a high guard. Then he goes down. See, he goes down to a low guard, and there's the thrust. But Axel is already there with his strong. So when the weak comes up, he just stays and goes in. And you said earlier to have Axel is confident enough. He's really confident here. He stays here and he's not going to move. So when the thrust comes up, he just goes in and takes it.
Yeah.
So that it takes perfect timing and to have some courage and really know that this will work. You know?
Absolutely. And I think something I'd say is that I mean, Axel's, when he's coming in, he's not coming in and stopping. He's not doing what a lot of less experienced fencers do, which is effectively go to a Mexican standoff, where you go to the center and you're just, you know, you've become a linear fighter. What he's doing is you'll see him moving his Feder around, searching like antennae, just wanting to see, you know, where's he going to go, and he's just covering the blade. You know, it's just really nice to see him covering the blade without actually having to get that sentiment, without actually having to touch the blade.
Very nice. Let's take a look again in full speed, shall we?
Okay.
This is very, very quick when it happens. Bam, there.
Yeah, I think actually I'd like to see that again at slow speed.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. Because there's so small details going around here.
Yeah.
Axel stays in the middle guard. His opponent goes down to a low guard, try to thrust from there, but Axel is already there, takes it. So
okay,
let's see it in slow-mo again. And pay attention to where the blades go before the thrusts happen. Down, there it goes in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Perfect.
Small details. Yeah. Okay, that was actually it for this episode. A quick little longsword analyze session. I think next time we will do rapier. I think
that would be nice. Yes.
Okay, let's do rapier next time. Do you want to say anything about our next guest? We're gonna have more interviews, of course.
Indeed, yeah. We've got a couple of great guests coming up. We've got Jake Norwood next, who's going to be talking, gosh, an awful lot of stuff that we've got to cover. I think the main worry we've got is, of course, he's 5 hours behind us, so we're going to have to be up at like 1 or 2 in the morning to do this interview. I hope he appreciates the effort that we're doing here. But I mean, then after that, well, I'm not going to say who we've got. We've got some great interviews with people, not just the popular names in HEMA.
No, exactly.
But what we've got are people, I think, who've got various fascinating stories to tell and bring lots of different aspects with them. So let's see what the end of the year and the beginning of next year brings.
Yeah.
Okay. Hans,
okay.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.